In this of the Maya basics, we're just going to look at a little bit of the interface quickly, and then just look at some customization. So one of the things that I first found when I started using Maya, and weren't, there wasn't really that many tutorials around at that time, was just the layout. So when I was following video tutorials, what I found is that other people using Maya, their interface looked completely different to mine. And this is really down to two things. One of these being the shelves. So in terms of the shelves, we have different shelves which have different purposes. So here we have our default one, which is a modeling. We have a sculpting one. We have tools for rigging, animation, etc., etc. So it's just really to note that this is a case. So that these different shelves contain different tools depending on what you're using Maya for. The other thing, and this is where it confused me more because the shelves are pretty obvious, is just the menus up here. So I remember following tutorials and going up to menus and thinking, well, the tutorial was following a completely different menu sets. And this is down to this here. So these separate modules essentially. So from the file menu to the Windows menu, these are common to all of the different menu sets. After this, in this case from Mesh onwards, the menus are specific to the tasks that you're doing within Maya. So again, our default is modeling, and the menus we have here for modeling: mesh, edit mesh, mesh tools, mesh display, curves, surfaces, etc., etc. These are all specific to modeling within Maya. It should be noted that in quite early, well, I think quite early versions of Maya, I don't know, up to 2012, 2013, I'm not sure when it changed over, but things like the curves and surfaces actually had their separate menu as well. Now it's all within the modeling menu. If I click on the rigging set, we get a completely different set of menus. So as I said, up to Windows, it's common menus, and then we have skeleton, skin, deform, constraint, etc. And this is the same for all of these. So animation is the same. We have a different set of menus. Effects, we have a different set of menus. If I actually click onto it, okay. So if you are ever following a tutorial on a specific thing and you're wondering why you don't have the menus, it could just be this here. These are also on, I believe, on custom shortcuts. There we are. So if I go to F2 modeling, F3 rigging, F4 animation, F5 effects, F6 rendering, and then it's separate because it's multi-component mode. Okay, so the main ones you can use: F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, back to F2. So that's just a little bit about the interface. In terms of these shelves, these can be pretty useful, especially when you're first starting out, if you're using certain tools all the time for specific tasks. So you could just go into the specific shelf that you want to use, but you can also create your own custom shelves as well. So if I just go to the settings bar here, and I can actually go in and do a new shelf. I already have modeling tools, which is a general one that I create, so I'll just call this tutorial modeling. Now you can't use specific characters or spaces within these names. If I put a space in there, it's going to come up and say contains illegal characters, so just be aware of that. So you can use naming conventions such as capitalizations to separate words, or you can use an underscore as well. So if I just click OK, so this has created a completely new shelf, completely empty shelf there. And then I can go in and add whatever tools I want from the different menus. So say I wanted to add some mesh menus, some mesh tools. I can go in, and all we need to do is just choose a tool we want, and I can just Control Shift click on that tool, and that will add it in there. So if I wanted to add some more, say I want to do a slide edge, to do a target weld, insert edge loop, and just to show we can do it from any menu, if I wanted to do something like delete history, there as well. So any of these we can just click and add. Control Shift click and add. If we do want to get rid of any of these, we can just right click and we can delete them as we need to. Okay. And if we did want to, we could also delete the shelf by clicking back on here and just doing a delete shelf, and it will delete the current shelf, the open shelf. Okay, back to where we were. So that can be useful, particularly when you're learning Maya, just to add just the tools that you're using and working with at the time that you're learning them to one tool set. So that's just a quick look at shelves, just a quick look at the menu sets and at customizing shelves and adding tools to your shelf. And that's the end of this tutorial.